Hello everyone, welcome back to our Maya 2018 series on our solar system project. So far we have all of our planets here textured, and in this lesson we're going to work on animation and organization of our outliner. So to start with, let's go ahead and take a look at our sun here. And we're going to start to get some initial animation set up. So I'm going to also open up my channel box layer editor on this side. And we're going to take a look at our timeline down here and make sure that everything down here is in order. So this dictates how fast the animation plays inside of our scene. So if I press play here, see how fast it's going. And the reason why it's going super fast like this is because it's set on free play, which means that Maya is going to play as fast as the processor will allow, meaning that not necessarily 24 frames per second. So let's go ahead and adjust our playback speed to match our 24 frames per second. So I'll click on this little running man with a gear on top of it. And then over here, you'll see it says frame rate 24 frames per second. That is what we want. I'll go down a little bit further and you'll see it says play reframe. And that also we want. Play reframe is necessary because if you have dynamics inside your scene, the dynamics are being calculated using physics, and if it's not playing every frame, then the physics cannot be calculated accurately. So even though we don't have any physics in our scene, we'll just go ahead and leave this on. Playback speed set at free. This is what we need to change. So we're going to go ahead and go over here and change it down to 24 frames per second. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. There we go. So now when I hit play, it plays much more predictably. There we go. Now we can go ahead and start doing some animation. Now we also want to think about how long our animation needs to be. So let's go ahead and open this up a little bit, because right now at 24 frames per second, this animation will be about 5 seconds almost. So let's go ahead and open this up to, let's say, 300 frames. I'll give us a little more time to play with. Okay. And the first thing I want to do is I want to get this thing animated. Now I'm going to select my sun, make sure it's selected so it's green, right? And I'm going to make sure my timeline is also on frame 1 over here, okay? So I'm going to hit, you can do one of two ways to set keyframes. Now, if you hit S, it'll keyframe every channel. And that's usually the way I teach my students to begin with. If you want to be more precise, which later on in your animation studies, you'll find that you may not want to keyframe every attribute in your channel box. You can do something more like this, where you'll right mouse button click on here and you just hit key selected, and it'll key that one attribute. And there'll be a little red mark over here, and there'll be a little red slash down here inside the timeline. That indicates that there's now keyframes saving the y-axis rotation at this particular time and space. Okay, so if I want to go a little bit further down the line over here to frame 300, and I want to put in a value of 1080. And actually, let's say, let's keep it a little bit more even. Let's say 1100 to begin with. I know 1080 is a perfect circle, but we're not going to really worry about that at the moment. Okay. And by perfect circle, I just meant that it was it would finish on a perfect circle. Okay, so on rotate Y, again, I would just right mouse button over here and hit key selected, and then you'd see over here in the timeline, we now have another key. Now that is a little bit of a time-consuming process. The faster way, you can do it. But before I go and show you that faster way, let me just demonstrate this actually did work. So you go over here and hit play, and you can now see that as the timeline goes along, that it is now spinning, right? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, send it back. So let's say that you want to do a different route. This is what is also kind of referred to as quick and dirty method, since it does keyframe all the different attributes. But let's say that I want to do this. So I'm going to get rid of these keyframes. And to do so is all you have to do is highlight the entire timeline or any area that has keyframes that you want to remove. So I'm going to hold down Shift, left mouse button drag over the top of this timeline here. You can see this red is enveloping the timeline. And make sure you get all the way back to 0 mark here, so that way frame 1 is also encompassed. And you don't just hit delete. If you do, you'll notice your object is deleted. You don't want that to happen. So you're going to hold or hover your mouse over the top of this red, hit right mouse button, and then you're going to go to delete here. And that will remove the keyframes, but not delete the object. Okay? All right. So the other way that we could do this is on frame one. This is the quick and dirty method. So it'll be a little bit faster. We're using hotkeys here. We'll hit S, and you'll notice that all the keyframes in the channel box have now been keyed. You'll also see on frame one that there is now a keyframe as well right there. And then we can go to frame 300, and in the rotate Y, I'm going to put in a value of 1100, hit enter, and hit S. Oh, hit enter, hit S. There we go. And it keyed all the different attributes. Now, even though there's no changes, it still recorded a change. If we looked inside the graph editor, we'd see there'd be a straight line going from one to the next because there's no change in it. But every attribute does actually have animated information, even though some attributes didn't have any animation or animated change. So now we'd have the same result though. If we went back to frame one here, clicked over here, and then press play, we can now see that it is rotating just fine, right? Okay. Go ahead and stop this and go back. Okay. Now, to animate this guy going around the sun, that's a different story, right? Because we can't just animate him going around. If we did, I would want to alert from one end to the next. And that's something else actually I didn't really quite address. Some of you may have picked up on. When you press play here, you can see how it slowly starts to come into it. And then as it gets closer to here, it starts to speed up at almost full speed. And then once it gets down towards the end, it starts to slow as it comes into a stop. And that's because Maya does what's called like an ease in, ease out type of animation with all of its keyframes. So we can break this and make it linear. We'll do that later on in the lesson, but for now, just suffice it to say that I do acknowledge that that is there and that we're going to address it a little bit later on. And it's something we're going to address with all the planets animations. But first, let's talk about how we're going to drive this planet going around it. Now, you could parent it into this, but the problem with parenting it is that it could possibly inherit some of the scale information and make this thing grow in size. Also does not allow it to move faster than the sun, which is another problem. So what we're going to do actually is create what's called a group for this planet. And a group is essentially an empty, invisible node inside of Maya, and it's created at the origin like everything else is. And we can use that empty node or group to drive the planets around the sun. So I'm going to open up the outliner so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Got Mercury here selected. I'm going to hit Control G. You can see down here, this one just popped up. This little symbol here indicates that this is a null group or a null node, also called a group. So we're going to go ahead and double click on it, make sure it's named. We're going to shorten this up from group 1 to GRP for group, and we're underscore Mercury. And if you hit the little plus sign next to it, you can see that Mercury is on the inside of the group, and that's perfect. And if you look over here, you can see that the manipulator is at the origin, which is great because now we can use the group to rotate our planet around the sun. Perfect, right? Okay, now stepping up and down here, you can actually click on the planet and still animate this independently, but the parent will drive the child, which is Mercury's mesh, around the sun. Okay. Hopefully that clicks. All right, so first, let's go ahead and use this group to drive our initial animation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a value of, or actually no, I have to key it first. So we have the group selected. We're on frame 1. Make sure this is on frame 1. And hit S. You can see the group now is keyed over here. I'm going to frame 300, and I'm going to put in a value of 1200 and hit S. Okay. Now if I go over to frame 1 and I hit play, you see now it's going to take off going around the sun, right? Doing good. All right, perfect. Now let's address the fact that as it's going around the sun, the planet itself is not spinning itself. It's orbiting the sun, but it's not spinning, right? Okay, so we're going to add another layer to this. We're going to go down inside the group. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the little plus sign, go down inside the group where the mesh Mercury is. And on frame 1, again, I'm going to hit S. And then on frame 300, I'll enter a value of 1080 and just hit S. Okay, so now you can see that as it's going, it's also starting to spin. Yeah. Now I know that, like, as these things orbit the sun, that they're going to have a lot more revolutions than what I'm giving it, but I'm not going to really concern myself with that. This is just more of a mechanics demonstration. That you can see now that the planet itself is also spinning on its own axis, on its local axis, while the group is using the origin. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we're going to move on to Venus. So again, with Venus, we're going to hit Control G. Now over here in the outliner, I'm going to go ahead and rename this new group as GRP underscore Venus. Okay. Oops, not Venus. I'll call it Venus. There we go. And same thing, I'm going to go ahead and start the animation process of this one. I'm just going to go down 100 degrees per animation. So this one over here ended on 1200. So I'm going to have Venus end on 11. So I'm going to start on over here. I'm going to hit S on frame 1. I'm going to go over to frame 300. And in the rotate Y, I'm going to enter a value of 1100. Hit enter and hit S. Okay. So what that will do is it'll make it to where as these planets are animating, they're not going to stay in line. Eventually, they're all going to pull apart, which is what we really want. They shouldn't ever be in line, but that was part of the creation. Okay, so now that we've got the group animated, again, this is going to be rinse and repeat for all these planets. We're going to go ahead and jump in and do the planet on the inside of the group now. So on frame 0, I'm going to go ahead and hit S. And on frame 300, I'm going to enter a value of 1080 and hit S on the rotate Y. Okay. So now it is also rotating just like Mercury is. It's just that once it gets towards the end, it starts to pull away. Perfect. Okay. Next is Earth. All right. So now for Earth, Earth is a little bit of a different animal because Earth has a moon now. So what we want to do with the moons is we want these guys to all be parented into their respective planets. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the moon here. We're going to shift select the Earth, and we're going to hit the letter P for parent. And now you can see that if you click on the mesh Earth, that the moon is now parented underneath the Earth, which means that as I rotate the Earth, it also rotates the moon. So again, child first, parent second, hit P for parent, and then this moon will be parented into the planet. Okay, so next I'm going to create the group now out of the parent, not the child. So I have the Earth selected. I'm going to hit Control G. I'm going to rename this guy. It's going to be GRP underscore Earth. I'll fix this one too because it's an uppercase G. I want to be consistent with all of them. Okay. So let's switch it up just so you guys can see this in place. We're going to go to Earth, and on frame 1, I'm going to hit S. On frame 300, I'm going to enter a value of 1080 and hit S on frame 300. So now when I scrub the timeline here, I'm just left mouse button dragging across the timeline. You can see that Earth is now spinning in place. That's good. I'm not going to bother with the moon because it's so small, you won't be able to see that thing spinning. If you want to be meticulous, you can animate it, but I'm not going to. All right, now I'm going to step up into the group. I'm going to go now on frame 1, I'm going to hit S, and on frame 300, I'm going to enter in a value of 1000 and hit S. Okay, so now let's see how this one's looking. So now it should really be coming apart, right? There we go. Yep, good. Great. Okay. Next, we are going to look at Mars over here. Now we have two moons for Mars, and we have Mars itself. So we're going to select Mars. We're going to shift select both of them. I just hit Q to get rid of the manipulator there. I'm going to shift select Mars last. Okay, so now I have Mars is going to be the parent. So if you remember what the way that it worked for the Earth, it's child, child, parent, P for parent. So now you can see that the planet is at the top, and then the two children, the moons, are underneath it. Okay. All right. So moving on here, we're going to hit Control G, and we're going to name this GRP underscore Mars. Okay. And on frame 1, I'm going to hit S. And on frame 300, I'm going to enter a value of 900. This is for the group. Okay. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Okay, pulling apart good, like that. Now I need to get this planet here spinning, right? Because right now it's just locked in place. So I'm going to select Mars, the parent. I'm going to hit S on frame 1. And I'm going to go to frame 300. I'm going to enter a value of 1080. Hit S. All right, there we go. Now you can see that Mars is also spinning. Okay, join the party. Okay, now things get a little more interesting. We're going to look at Jupiter here. I'm going to select all of Jupiter's moons. The one hiding over here. I'll shift select Jupiter last. I'm going to hit P for parent. Okay, there we go. Now you can see over here that Jupiter is the parent. All of its moons are its children. Perfect. Okay, now we're also going to group it. So close this up down here. We're going to hit Control G. And we're going to call this GRP underscore Jupiter. Okay. And on frame 1, we'll hit S. On frame 300, we'll enter a value of, I think we're at 800 now. Enter, hit S. Okay, let's go ahead and test that out. There we go. It's coming apart nicely. Good. Okay, now all we got to do is deal with the independent rotation animation off the local axis for Jupiter. So we're going to open up the group there, and there's the planet itself. So on frame 1, I'll hit S. On frame 300, I'll put in 1080 S. And now, as Jupiter goes around, it is also spinning. That's good. All right. Keep this moving along. Close up the group down here. I'm going to select all the moons and the ring, and then shift select the planet last. Hit P for parent for Saturn. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Control G and call this one GRP underscore Saturn. Okay, on frame 1, I'll hit S. And on frame 300, I'll enter a value of 700 and S. Let's see how that looks. Good, good. All right. And now let's also get the independent rotation on the planet. So we'll go ahead and select the planet on the inside. We'll hit S on frame 1. We'll go to frame 300. And we will enter a value of 1080. Hit enter and hit S. Okay, there we go. Now they're all spinning. We're looking good. All right. Next, we got Uranus. So we're going to select each one of the moons of Uranus, and we're going to select Uranus planet last, and hit P for parent. There we are. And we're going to group it. Control G. Call it GRP underscore Uranus. And for the group, on frame 1, we'll hit S. On frame 300, we're going to put in a value of 700. Maybe that's what I did for Saturn too. center was 700. Okay, so Uranus needs to be 600. And hit S. All right, let's see how that looks. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to open up Uranus and we're going to do the rotation as well. So on frame 1, I'll hit S. On frame 300, I'll put in 1080. Okay. Now I know this may seem quite a bit repetitive to you guys, and that's actually the principle of the project, is for it to be repetitive. You learn a lot when you go through things in repetition. Okay. Okay, I just feel like I'm missing a moon. Where's Neptune's moon? There it is. All right, add Neptune's moon. Neptune, Peter parent. Looks like I never renamed this one as Pluto. Flipping a little bit here, guys. All right, catch Pluto too while we're at it. All right. With Neptune selected though, we'll hit Control G. We're gonna call this one GRP underscore Neptune. Okay. On frame 1, I'll hit S. On frame 300, I'll now put in 500. Hit S. We'll go inside the mesh here. Go ahead and hit S on frame 1. On frame 300, I'll go ahead and put in 1080 again. All right, let's see how that looks. Good. All right. Last one, guys. All right, so here is Pluto. Okay, so select the moon, shift select Pluto, P for parent. And we're going to group Pluto. GRP underscore Pluto. And on frame 1, we'll hit S. On frame 300, let's put in 360, one loop. And then for the planet itself, on frame 1, we'll hit S. On the very end, we will put in another 1080. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Let's go ahead and hit play. Everything's coming apart. That's looking good. For those of you that are my students in class, this is what I'm looking for. This is what it should look like when you animate it. If they are not pulling apart, then you've done something wrong. Okay. As far as organization goes, this is also what I'm looking for, students. If you're just on the internet learning stuff new, then obviously you're not going to be getting graded down by me. But for everybody else who is in my classroom, I'll be looking to make sure that all your plants are created to scale and that they are all textured and that you have correct naming conventions going on here. So that means you're using hierarchy, which is what we have here. We have the hierarchy of the group stepping down to the base mesh, and then from the base mesh down to the moons, and you're using the hierarchy to drive the animation. So I'll check to make sure that that is working and making sure that all of these are named and grouped and nice and clean in here. If things are out of miss, then I will send you an email saying that you have some corrections to make. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you're in my class, feel free to email me. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next lesson where we'll pick up with creating a sky dome and rendering out our final render.